Jauan Jennings got an extension, and it was kind of surprising because Brandon Aiyuk wants an extension. They just drafted a wide receiver, and it seems like this was the last order of business, but it became the first order of business. And so I need to talk to my good pal Jesse to make sense of this all. What does this mean for Brandon Aiyuk?
And I gotta say, this is the most confusing signing that the 49ers could have made. And it's not because Jennings isn't a good player. We know how much he means to this team. I remember a couple seasons ago, Fred Warner was talking to Sherman on a podcast, and he said that he felt like Jennings was the best football player on the team. So as far as the impact of Jennings, it makes sense to want to keep him in the building and keep him happy. That being said, you've got your number one wide receiver out here unpaid, not showing up to OTAs that are voluntary. So what does this mean for his deal? Does it put pressure on him? And then you've got a rookie wide receiver, Grant, that you just drafted who's 24 years old that presumably would be better in the slot. But now you're keeping Jennings through next year. I just don't know what this fully means for Aiyuk and his situation. And really, more importantly, Pearsall and his development. I don't know, man. You help me make sense of this, Grant, because I really don't understand this one right now.
Well, I mean, part of it is that his agent is Drew Rosenhaus. So Drew Rosenhaus is smart, and I feel like the Niners put themselves in an awkward position when they gave Colton McKivitz a 1-year extension through 2025. Like, how are you not going to do that for Jauan Jennings after you did that for Colton? Probably it wasn't that much more money. He's a more important player. He scores touchdowns. Colton doesn't, as the 49ers put it. I think the Niners set the precedent for it. Not asking for that much money. You can afford him. He came up big in the Super Bowl. It just seemed to make sense. It's like it's in their budget. He has chemistry with Brock Purdy. Like, what's the reason not to do this? But the impact on Brandon Aiyuk is that, I don't know, maybe the Niners are looking at this situation the way I have been looking at it for months. Like, Brandon, great player, but it doesn't make sense to spend all that money on him. It makes sense to draft a wide receiver, commit to Jauan Jennings. So I don't know. This isn't the best news for Brandon Aiyuk. Or maybe it's great if he wants to leave the Niners.
Okay, I have a working theory, and this kind of hit me as I was doing a show 2 days ago. You tell me what you think. I think not only are the 49ers surprised that Brandon Aiyuk is presumably in this 30-year annual average range, but I think even Brandon Aiyuk is surprised that the money has climbed to this point. And the reason that I say that is the 49ers took calls on potentially trading Brandon Aiyuk during the draft. However, they never were serious about wanting to move him. Well, one day before the draft is when Amon-Ra St. Brown got his deal. Who knows, what point during that draft process they knew the full deal. I don't remember the timeline there. But what I do know is he got paid the day before the draft. Well,
yeah,
the 49ers at that time were in full draft mode, trying to figure out who they want, not really wanting to trade Brandon Aiyuk, knowing at that point maybe Brandon Aiyuk's number was at 26 or 27 million, hypothetically. Now you fast forward, they get through the draft, they take a deep breath, they revisit the negotiation table, and it's like, well, yesterday's price is not today's price. Guess what? Now we want 30. And they're like, whoa, we never expected to get here. And Brandon Aiyuk's probably looking at it going, yeah, well, I also didn't expect to get here, but Amon-Ra St. Brown just reset the market for me. I think that not only are the 49ers surprised at the number, but I honestly think that Brandon Aiyuk is surprised at the number that he's probably going to get, or at least is trying to get.
Yeah, absolutely. So it seems like the Niners missed their opportunity to trade Brandon Aiyuk. Like, they wouldn't get anything back from him now that would be useful. He's going to be on the team. I just think it's interesting. Like, Christian McCaffrey's not there. Brandon Aiyuk's not there. They have grievances. And the Niners are like, you know what? We hear you guys. But right now, we got to work it out with Jauan. Sorry. I think that's great. Because you know what? It's funny, too. Like, of all those three players, Jauan was the best in the Super Bowl. And it's just one game. But this team clearly can't get over it. They're trying to say they're over it. They look morose in person. And Jauan Jennings, he's back. He had a great Super Bowl. He can't hang his head. I don't know. It's interesting.
When week 1 kicks off Monday Night Football for the San Francisco 49ers, does Aiyuk have a new deal in place? What's your thoughts?
My feeling, I think I already made a bet with my dad about this. My feeling is that this is going sideways, and the answer is no. It's maybe I'm usually wrong, but this one feels different. It feels like Brandon Aiyuk is more motivated to leave than Debo was, or is that fair to say? I don't know. He just feels like he's aggrieved. Like Debo got targets here. He just wanted to get money. Brandon, I feel like he feels he can't really spread his wings and become the full version of himself on this team. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, follow-up question. If he doesn't have a new deal in place, does he play week 1?
No. I mean, he could. Am I wrong? I mean, no. He could hold out. Didn't Chris Jones hold out a couple games?
He can hold out, I think, 11 games maybe, and still accrue a year. I want to say it's 11 games. So, yeah, and Jones did miss week 1 last year. That is true. And then they finally got a deal done.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, for me, I think a deal gets done. I also don't think it's 30 annual average, which is what it sounds like he's seeking. But we'll see, man. It does. This one does feel different because I feel like Aiyuk is dug in, but he's not playing the same games that Debo played, where it's like, well, trade me, but really, I don't want to be traded. I just want to get paid. He's just like, listen, I'm just about my business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to wait for a deal to come. And if it doesn't come, then I'll play hardball. I don't know. This one does feel a little bit different, but I still think a deal gets done personally.